Well, welcome back, my friends, all to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors, a custom hunting knife called the Hunter in Nitro V with micarta handle scales, G10 liners, made by hand by Heavyset Tactical. He sent this one to me to check out. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to ask y'all to do two things that I typically just don't ask you to do. First is, I'm going to ask you to watch the whole video. I know it's 15 minutes. I know it's a little longer. I know my videos can be redundant. But I want you guys to watch this knife work. It came with a toothy edge. And if you are a custom maker, listen to me. If you're going to send me a knife to check out, I want to help you out. I want to do all I can to showcase your knife, right? A good solid toothy edge will get it done every time because of the type of test we run. Now, if I was a different type of reviewer and did different things, then that high polished, super slicey, super polished edge would be great. For me, because of the things we do, because of the type of demonstrations and things like that I do, the damn toothy edge just works for me. I'm going to make a statement right here, and I want to quantify it, but I want to make it up front. We might be looking at the next big name in knife making. Okay, there's a lot of really, really good knife makers out there, up and comers, really good guys who are busting their ass, passionate. This is as good a knife, custom knife, as I have ever had in my hand for where John's at in his knife journey. Now, there's no caveat to that. Fit and finish, it came 10 out of 10. It really did. I'm not a fit and finish guy. Sharpness, I'm going to give him an 8. But that's because it's a toothy edge. You said, Scab, you just said you like. I do love toothy edges, but we still have to be honest where we're at on the sharpness scale. And you're going to see throughout this video how sharp I consider an 8 is. I opened this video cutting that 1-inch diameter 4-ply sandblast hose. If you don't think that shit ain't hard to cut, go ask Joe from JS Bladecraft. I sent him some. Watch how we do. Look right there. This is that 2-inch ratchet strap. Now, here's the thing, guys. I could have got some longer pieces and just blew right through it. Probably done 3 and 4 at the time with the longer pieces. I like showcasing those smaller pieces. If you don't think that matters in showing sharpness, do me a favor. Find you some ratchet strap. Cut it down to maybe 4 or 5-inch strips in length. Cut them. And then take the longer strips. Cut them. See what cuts better. The ones that are longer that you can get the leverage on are easier to cut. They just are. That's something that I've been kind of working on developing in the back of my mind and testing and seeing. Because while I want to give you the best look at a knife I can, I also want it to be the most genuine look, right? These are those air potatoes. It's an invasive species to Florida. I'm not eating one, but it's just like a potato, except it's thicker. It's a little slimier, and it's hard to cut. And it was at this point, and you might even hear Kirk say it, that's a hell of a knife. Kirk was blown away. So here's what we're going to do. This knife is this good, and I'm dead ass serious. Kirk and I are going to do another review on this knife. We're going to do a collab, but we're going to do it in the moment. We're going to do some tri-sticks. We're going to make some traps. We're going to start some fires. We're going to do some stuff that I don't normally showcase on here, some smaller motor skill set stuff, if that makes sense. It's got a tremendous balance point. This knife, I'm telling you, John hit it out of the park. And somebody will probably say, well, you're just basing that because he sent it to you. No. You know what I'm basing this on? I'm not even basing it on this one knife. I'm basing it on hundreds of custom knives that I have been fortunate and blessed to test on this channel and to have in hand. And this is just as good as any of them. It's a solid build. What I wanted to do here, I almost did it in the moment with the microphone on, wasn't going to narrate it. And then I thought, no, let me do as much as I can with it. See, that's where the narration comes in, right? Personally, to give you the best look, I like doing it in the moment. To show you the knife work the most, the narration. But because it's just straight working with the knife, and then I go back and look at it. I was able to stab 2 pieces of tire, and those are reinforced, still reinforced. Now, leather sheath. This sheath is from, I think, Bear Claw Outfitters. We're going to zip through the zip ties here. And again, if you're new here, guys, it's not about being sharp enough. I'll throw that son bitch down. It's not being sharp enough to cut a zip tie. Every knife should be able to cut or pry a zip tie. Will doing that do any damage to that edge? No, it didn't. The HRC on this is right at 62. Now, I realize we're about 6 minutes in, and I haven't given you specs, so let's do that. I'm going to pull them by hand. First and foremost, the overall length is right at 8 3/16, okay? The blade length is 3 3/4 with a cutting edge. Nope, I lied. The blade length is 4 inches with a cutting edge of 3 3/4. I'm sorry about that. It has a nice little sharpening choil. The blade width, let's see if we can pull that, is right at 1 1/8 at the widest part of the blade. The handle scales themselves, the handle scales on their own, is 4. I'm getting 4 3/8, or no, I'm getting 4 1/4. Okay. The inner grip on this knife is at 3. Let's see, right at 3 3/4. You get an extra inch there on the pommel, so it'll fit most hands. Kurt brought up a point to me while I'm pulling the blade stock. Let's get that, and I'll tell you. Blade stock's 1/8, about a 62 HRC, perfect balance point. Kurt brought up a great point, and I was going to throw this out to Jonathan, the heavyset. You could take this design, you could lengthen the handle 1 inch, put another inch on the blade length. You could make this bigger, you could make it smaller. The design is spot on. He didn't reinvent the wheel. He just really, really polished this wheel up good. I adore this. It looks like a drop point. That's what I'm thinking there. Or spear point, maybe a drop point. It just feels good in hand. When you see these longer videos from me that are narrated, and I leave in a lot of stuff, even though it's redundant, it's purposeful. I want you to see everything we did with the knife. We start a fire, and my dumb ass was striking a ferro rod, but it took forever. I left it in. Why? Because I want you to see that it's my skill set, not the knife. That was the issue. Right here, I don't know why it is, but I like that. I like doing that little demonstration. And I think the reason I like doing it is when I stab this into the stump, I can literally pull that stick all the way from the bottom for as far down as I can get, all the way to the top. I can kind of see how it shreds off. I can see if it bites deeper. I can see a lot of things back. And guys, listen, especially some of you new guys with the channels. See, here's the thing. It's not about using a knife. See, it's all about using the knife. But the truth is there are some guys out there with phenomenal, amazing skill sets. It's just when they go to show it on camera, it's not easy to do. It's just like if I tried to swap over now to do tabletops, they would suck for a few months till I got my rhythm. So when I'm showing you all this, right, I'm still getting my groove. 4.5 years into this, I'm still trying to not only learn a skill set, but a showable skill set, if that makes sense. Now, I address this every video. This is as big as I'll ever baton in real life. In Florida, with the batoning, here's what we use batoning for: to get the wet wood off, get to the dry wood. Most of the time in Florida, there's shit laying everywhere, especially in Northeast Florida. It's more like being in Southeast Georgia. But I've seen videos of guys where it'll be pouring snow or pouring rain, and they'll go out and they'll pull some wood and they'll shave some pieces and it'll fire right up because they don't live in a real humid environment. Son, if a bird pisses across in the air, it inundates that wood. Everything soaks in here because we run anywhere from 80 to 100% humidity, right? So for me, it is imperative to take the smaller stuff, strip it down. This knife is perfect for that. Kirk and I talk about how good this knife is through the whole thing. Now, we do it as two construction guys. That's why I always turn down the volume and try to narrate over some of it, because there is some stronger language in it. There won't be next week. But all throughout the video, we were both impressed. And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. A lot of the stuff, like doing this stuff here, I'll probably never do that. I mean, let's just be realistic. Not in real life, but it is a good chance for me to see what it'll do. Will it split the board? Well, yeah, it did. It's supposed to. And that's the thing a lot of times. And the longer I do this, I've gone from seeing what the knife can take to seeing what the knife will do. There's plenty of channels that'll beat the hell out of the knife. There's plenty of channels that are good at that. I just want to show you what I can do with a limited skill set. And the truth is, the better I make a knife look, trust me when I tell you, if you have a good skill set, you'll be super impressed with it. I say all the time, I'm a novice. Some of that is about showing the skill set on camera. I can do things off camera and like, holy shit, I wished I could have filmed that. But and I'll do a video on that one day and show you some examples. But this knife right here, I've got a pinch grip. I'm in control. No, you're not supposed to cut towards yourself, but never, ever was there a time with this knife where I felt out of control. I'm going to do some different grips like right here. Let's watch for a second. Now you'll notice I moved my hand all up and down that edge. Kept control, did some fine work with the tip, did some fine work with the edge down by the handle. Here we're doing kind of the J.C. Owens tip test. Didn't want to go real heavy on it, to be honest with you. I'll do that later. It does have a reinforced tip, but this is a little test I like. Just make a little bow divot hole right there for a bow divot drill. Did it easily, no problem, but it's the control. This knife is easy breezy to control. Now, this is the part where it took a while. Now, I'm using one of Kirk's ferro rods, throws really good sparks. This has a really, really good 90-degree spine on it. While I'm showing you this and while we're kind of waiting on it to fire up, and spoiler alert, it eventually does, let's run through our causes. Guys, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, Heavyset Tactical is a veteran. That's a big reason I'm supporting him. He's a good dude. There's another good reason. But 22 a day, right? Take their own lives. It's staggering if you think about it. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. And vets, all I want you to know out of that, all I want you to hear out of that is this. You're welcome here, man. We love you here. You're not going to hear no dumb shit here. You can watch an idiot run around with a knife. I back the blue. It's not popular, but you know what? The more that I think about it, sometimes, man, you just have to make a stand whether it's popular or not. Are they above the law? No. God, no. They should be held accountable. My son is a cop. If he does wrong, he should be held accountable. But I'm going to support him. It has more to do with the way I grew up. I don't try to defend it. I don't try to argue about it. I'm not going to. It's my channel, my causes. Don't shove it down your throat, but it's something I believe in. I'm not going to half-ass support anything. Finally, if you are an addict, and I am, admittedly, never quit quitting. Well, let's take this last few minutes. Now, after all that, it cut 2 smaller pieces of ratchet strap, and then I took it home. No stropping, no nothing. Some really solid slicing here. Now, here's what I'm going to do. As this video is uploading, I'm going to hone it up. I'm just going to do a quick strop. That's all it needs. And I'll do a couple shorts tonight on this knife. I believe in this knife. I believe in Jonathan as a maker. I believe we're on to something. Now, time will only tell, right? Time will tell. Business savvy, patience, that kind of thing. But Jonathan, I'm pulling for you. I'm scared. You're not. And I'm going.